morning, everybody. Monday Morning Quarterback, episode 107. Hope you guys had a good start to your week. Glad you could join us tonight. We have a lot of cool stuff to talk about related to PitLogic. And as always, I'll answer any of your suspension questions as well. So we have been working on this release for a few months probably. It was packed with a bunch of features and we kept adding to it. We've been doing a lot of testing with it, and so we're excited that it is available to download on the App Store on Google Play or the Apple Store, whether you're iOS or an Android user. I will caution you, as with any update, just do the update through the App Store. Don't uninstall the software from your phone, or you could lose any data that's not backed up. So if you have an account created within PitLogic, you have the ability to back everything up to the cloud 100% securely. It's all encrypted for you only. So that would be a way, if you did ever lose your device or something like that, you could get all those setups back through your account. But definitely don't uninstall the software without backing up your setups. Throughout the course of this, as I'm screen sharing and kind of jumping back and forth, feel free to ask any questions that you have, and I will scroll back through and answer those. We're going to get Kevin on the line, and he's going to help us walk through some of these new features and show you guys what he's been up to. Some really cool new features we're working on. We're continuing to try to evolve the PitLogic platform for more users in different types of race cars, and we certainly appreciate all your feedback, and we try to incorporate as much of that as we can into new releases so we can just continue to make it a more powerful tool for everybody to use. I know I was a pen and paper guy, and man, I would never want to go back. It's so nice to have my setups with me at all times, no matter where I'm at, because they're on my phone. At the racetrack, I tend to use my phone. I used to use the tablet, but I tend to just use my phone now, especially with some of these new features that we've been testing. It makes kind of navigating through some of the stuff and setups and shocks a little cleaner, but we'll show you that in just a second. Had a good weekend out at Eastern Midget Week with Tyler Courtney winning both events. The other couple rained out, so he has significantly cut into the point lead there as he tries to defend his title. Kind of got off to a little bit of a slow start this year, but I believe he's won 5 of the last 6, so he is definitely hot, which is awesome. Robert Ballou was had that 360 race last night in hand, and something in the steering broke, so that was unfortunate to see. Robert's had a tough time coming back after severely injuring his arm last year. So it was good to see him running up front last night. Jayden Rogers had a fantastic weekend here in Indiana. 2nd at Bloomington, 1 at Putnamville, 1 at Paragon. So a great weekend for that young racer. And then a ton of quarter midget wins over the weekend for our guys. I was at the Midwest Thunder in Xenia, Ohio. I think the car count was around 200. People from as far west as Colorado were there. And Reed Whitney picked up a couple wins. Nolan Mitchell got a win. I'm going to forget. I didn't write them down. But we won a handful of races there. Congratulations to all those young kids who did really well at the Midwest Thunder. Looking forward to SmackDown coming up in a couple weeks. And some other races. We're kind of fine-tuning our schedule where we're going to be here in the near future. It seems to be kind of fluid. There's still some stuff getting canceling and things changing, so we're very thankful for the racetracks that are racing, and that's awesome. So okay, I'm going to give Kevin a call here. We'll get him patched in, and he can help us go through these PitLogic questions. Hopefully I dialed the right number. That'd be funny.
Hello.
Kevin, you are live, and I'm glad I dialed the right number because that would have been embarrassing.
No problem. Thank you.
So we are kind of introduced what we had going here With this new version 3.35, I gave the little disclaimer to definitely not uninstall the software before reinstalling it. Just do the update through the App Store, and if they ever do need to uninstall it, to back it up.
Perfect.
So I'm going to share my screen here so you can see PitLogic. And basically what we'll do is I'll just run through some of these new features, and then we'll go back and Kevin and I can answer any questions. And Kevin, if you have anything to add, tell me to shut up and speak up.
No problem.
Okay.
You know I can do that.
Yeah. So one of the first things you'll notice is when you click on setups and shocks, Kevin has done a really nice job of cleaning up this page as people have started to use it more and more, and we have tons of setups. Now it's easier to see the date and the track and then the class, so you see all my setups there with Hudson. And then the shock list is the same. You can see by car, brand, model of shock, and then serial number and corner, so it's really clean. And you also have the ability to sort shocks and folders, which I think was on the last release.
That's right.
You can put your shocks in folders and organize those same as you can setups. So that is very helpful for folks who might have a midget and a sprint car, or a couple different micros or a couple different quarter midgets. They can keep their shocks organized that way. Another awesome feature, this was a John Randall idea, so we'll give him credit, but we have a compare feature. So if you are in your shock screen and you click compare, now you can select two shocks to compare, and you can have those open, look at the different clicks for those shocks, and compare side by side, potentially two left front shocks. You can see the one on the left has a little bit more compression than the one on the right, and then you can close that and select a different shock. So if you said, well, I like that left front, but let's look at this one, you can see that as well. So that's a really handy feature to be able to compare two shocks side by side there. The next big one that a lot of people love is in the setups. We have the ability to save pictures to your notes. So if I open this setup and I go to my notes, you'll see I have a picture of Hudson winning there. That was a good day. Dirt Guys have started, or I should say Chance, because he's been beta testing this with us, taking pictures of the track at the end of the night and including those in the setups, and you can do that throughout the night. So in this, you have the ability to add a picture from your camera roll on your phone or tablet, or you could take a picture right there and save it in the notes section. So that's really handy.
You have that picture pretty small there. Can you touch that note to open up the note card?
Yeah. So I can touch it, and there it is, bigger, and you can see the picture much clearer. And it's probably a crappy picture I took while my hand was shaking because Hudson had made me nervous. So.
And you can touch it one more time and actually make it so that you can zoom it and move it. And...
Oh, okay. Very nice. I learned something tonight. So the ability to add pictures is going to be really helpful. Kevin had made another point where he'd created a setup just for notes, and he took some pictures on how things were assembled on his race car, maybe how your rear axle was put together. I think he mentioned how his pill holders were plumbed in the car. So that would be a handy thing to be able to go back and look right in PitLogic how you had some things put together. So I thought that was a cool idea. Also in setups, you now have the ability to long hold the time of day. I guess I should get to my setup. And you see I long held that, and now it says 9:11 p.m. Same thing with the weather. So if you long hold that, it'll bring in a short description of the weather in your setup, and then in the notes it'll bring a very detailed description of the weather. So that's a new feature. The weather was there, but the time is a new feature. And then also in the setups, I have a quarter midget setup pulled up.
Does it have caster?
Yeah, so um, if I click on the caster field, if I long hold that, you can see we have a built-in angle finder now. So we can, I'm just rotating my phone, so you could easily check angles on caster, wing angles, anything in the setup field that says angle. You can long hold that and automatically check that. If I would have hit the green arrow, it would have drug that angle into my setup. So that's a really handy feature. Another thing that Kevin had told me that I was unaware of is anything with 2 dots. So you see the caster has 2 dots on it, shot compression on this setup. Those are things where you can long hold and do an additional feature. So that was...
So like on the shot compression, it'll bring up the chart, and you can pick it from the chart.
Yep.
Or in this tire field, you can long touch it, it'll bring up your tire list, and you can pick one from there, that type of thing.
Yeah. That's a handy tool to be able to do your wing angles and everything and save them right there, not have to have another tool in your hand. So that's really cool. I'll go back to the setup. Oh, I went back one too far. To the setup main screen, and you'll see now that we've kind of changed the layout to make it a little cleaner and easier to read. There's a baseline folder tab up there. I don't have any setups saved as a baseline. I don't know if I'm not confident enough in my setups to make them a baseline, but I also have a lot of customer stuff in here and setups I upload for CSI. But if you were to click on baselines, then you could click on any of your other tabs and it would show you the baseline setup that setups you've identified as a baseline. So that's really handy to be able to look at your baseline setup. So from there you can copy those to new setups, and that's a handy way to quickly enter a setup. If you have a baseline setup for a certain track and you're going back there the next week, copy that to new, and it'll have all the same stuff in there, and then you can make any slight changes you might have. The Speed Shift has something coming on live, as you guys can see. What was my last one? Oh, now with checklists, you have the ability to create your own checklist from scratch, where before you had to do it from a template. So you can see you can start a new blank checklist, and this just walks you through making your own checklist. So really handy if you want to make a trailer load list, a grocery store list for to load the cooler for the trailer, a list of things you got to do when you get to the racetrack. I see people at the racetrack all the time with a piece of tape on the steering wheel of things they need to do when they get to the track. It'd be really handy to be able to just enter that in there and have it. So really easy now to create your own checklist. And I know Kevin uses that feature a lot. It's really helpful if you have multiple people working on your car or doing things for the race team, because you can see as things have gotten done, which is really handy.
And once you create a blank checklist, Garrett, you can also then save that as a template on your device. So in the future, you can make new copies of that fresh from start as well.
Awesome. So that kind of covers all the rad new features in PitLogic. I'm going to pull back up our thing here to see if anybody has any questions. Trevor Reed is a big Kevin Crum fan. I think Trevor misses you, old T-Bone.
I thought he was just calling me big.
T-Bone is currently buried in quarter midget shocks. We are happy to have a lot of quarter midget shocks to build at the moment, so he's busy doing quarter midget stuff. He stayed late with me here tonight. We're busy and we are appreciative for the work. So
I wanted to mention, when you're going through these list of new features, you mentioned John Randall earlier for the shock compare. He also, some of his questions inspired the new format for the setup list. I don't want to give him too much credit,
yeah.
But also some of the other features have all come from user input. Mark's given us some input before. Last week during the Monday morning quarterback at night, Eric had a suggestion. We wrapped that into here on copying notes from setups and stuff to the copy to new. So we really appreciate it when people give us feedback, because that's how we get the ideas to run with.
Yeah, absolutely, and we value the feedback. It helps us make the app more powerful and better for all the users. Yeah, I forgot to mention that now with as you copy to new a setup, it'll drag your notes in too. So if you had specific notes in there that pertain to your setup that you're going to need, they're in there, and then you can always add to those as you need. So anybody that's tuned in have questions for Kevin while we have him on the line, PitLogic questions, or I'm happy to answer any race car questions you have. Hope you guys are getting to race and going to race this week. Man, the weather looked really bad at Knoxville, seeing all those storms go through there, and we kind of caught the tail end of that. It stormed pretty good here in Brownsburg this evening, but I think the majority of it went up to northern Indiana, so I hope everybody stays safe with that weather that's been blown around. Mark Ashcraft, are there plans for a Java-like program of PitLogic for those that keep laptops in the trailer? I'll let Kevin take that.
We currently do not have that in the works. However, the method to do that from what we have as a code base is possible. We do have a couple of customers that use Android emulators on a Windows laptop and then install it from the Play Store, and that way they can use it. I don't think that's a complete feels exactly right type of experience, but it is possible. But something possibly down the road, but we don't have it right now.
Yeah, I know Tim Clausen is one who uses the emulator and uses the app on the laptop. As Kevin said, I think functionality and stuff, it works okay. It probably just doesn't look and feel as pretty as it does on the phone and the tablet, because that's what it was designed to look nice in. But we have some big new things we're working on PitLogic that will be in front of that. So Kevin's got quite a list of things we're trying to accomplish for the app that's going to make it even more powerful and more user friendly for everybody. One thing I do want to mention is those of you who are maybe listening and aren't using PitLogic, there's no better time to download it. It is 100% free for 14 days. You don't have to put a credit card in. It's no gimmick that we're going to trap you into a monthly subscription or anything like that. You can download it. From the day you download it, you have 14 days to play with it, work through it, use it, and then at the end of that, if you want to get a subscription, you can do that and continue to use it. So it's totally free if you're unsure of if it's a tool that you would benefit from or you would use. So don't hesitate to download it and check it out.
And when you do that, then check out the setup codes that are on the pitlogic.com. Go to there, it gives you some good reference starting points of how you can keep your information.
Yeah, and I actually have a bunch of setups people have been requesting that I'm gonna get uploaded here in the near future. So we'll get some more setups there. There's a bunch of quarter midget setups, some micro setups. We have even a baseline midget and sprint car setup on there. And anybody that wants to share setups, you can do that with your friends by saving it to a code and then giving your friend that code. So it's really helpful. The biggest thing for me that's helpful is at the track when people ask me questions. If they have PitLogic, it's so easy just to see their whole setup right there on their phone and then give them a pointer, versus somebody saying, well, I have this much crossweight and this much stagger, what do you think? Well, it's just, a small percentage of the equation there. So anybody else that's tuned in have PitLogic questions or racing questions, I'm more than happy to answer those for you. And if not, we will let Kevin go and you guys can enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. I don't know, well, SpeedShift just sent me a notification that something's going. I don't know where they're racing tonight. Did Oskaloosa rain out officially?
Yes.
Yeah, I figured. Okay.
There's modifieds in a couple of different places on Flow.
Stephanie, can you briefly describe differences in subscription packages? Absolutely. So I believe it's still bronze, silver, and gold, right, Kevin?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So bronze is $9.99 per month, and that gives you everything in the app. So you can use every feature of the apps, share setups, download setups from codes we have on PitLogic.com, you can use absolutely every feature in the app for $9.99. The silver subscription, which is $19.99, it gives you the ability to request shock data from us. So this is beneficial for customers who have 3, 4, 5, 6 sets of shocks and they don't want to individually input their shock data onto the platform. We will do that for them, and then as shocks get rebuilt or revalved, they can request for that data to be updated in the app, and we manage all of that for them. So that's where the extra $10 a month comes from, is there's a fair bit of work on the back end for us because we manually have to type in all that shock data, upload it for you. And then the gold package is both of those things, plus you have the ability to send us setups each week, and we will review those setups for you and give you feedback. So we have some quarter midget customers that use that. They send me their setups every single week. I take a look at them and then give them feedback based on my experience and my experience with other customers. So that's an option for you if you're new to the sport or you're just looking for some more information on your setups. And you can move from bronze to gold to silver kind of at any time, I believe.
Yep.
So yeah, so if you wanted to get some advice on setups for a month and then go back to bronze, that's absolutely okay. But like I say, the $9.99 gets you everything you need, and I promise it'll be the most powerful tool you use. Again, for 14 days you can try it for free, use it, and use all the features on it. So.
And with that $9.99, you can still have all of your shock data in there. You just got to manually put them in, which is actually what I do for mine because I don't want to ask Garrett to have to do mine. But
yeah,
you can manually put them in and still have them all available at your thumb tips.
Yeah, and it's not super hard. I think probably the average person that doesn't put them in all day can input a single adjustable shock in there in probably 5 minutes. So if you only have a couple sets of shocks while you're watching your favorite TV program, you can put all of them in there, and then they're there forever. So yeah, it's pretty simple to do. If you had a question with how to do that, I'm more than happy to walk somebody through how to do that, how to read their dyno sheet and put that data in there. That's really easy for me to do. So, anybody else have any questions for us while we're live on episode 107?
I thought Shane Smith would have a question. I'm a little bit disappointed, but oh well.
He's just here to listen to you talk, so.
Yeah. I noticed he logged on second.
Yeah, he was behind T-Bone. T-Bone misses you the most. I think T-Bone will be most sad if the races in January get canceled because he won't get to see you.
Yep.
Yeah. But if we can drag you to Vegas for Winter Nationals, if that happens, T-Bone will likely be there. So.
I told you I'm in.
Yeah. All right. Well, it looks like we're all good. Kevin, I appreciate your time this evening. Appreciate all the hard work on PitLogic. It is awesome. And if anybody asks a question after the fact, I will pass it along and we will get it answered.
Thank you, sir. Have a great night.
Yep, you too. Take care.
Bye.
All right, folks. Well, thank you again for tuning in. Episode 107. I had a more of a techie type episode plan, but when that new feature launched yesterday, I just thought it'd be a good chance to answer PitLogic questions and share all the new features. So for those of you that are using the platform, you can benefit from all those new features, which are really, really cool. So next week we'll have the tech segment. As always, if I miss your question or you watch this and think of a question, never hesitate to DM me on Facebook, shoot me an email, Garrett, Garrett at csishocks.com, or just give us a call here and we will get you answered. Thank you all for listening and watching, and we hope you have a fantastic week. We will talk to you soon.